welcome back to the channel. In this series, we're taking a look at Bret Easton, Ellis's American Psycho and its various film adaptations. In this episode, we're going to talk about the source material, American Psycho, which was published in 1991. If you'd like to get a copy of the book, please consider supporting the channel through the link in the description or by clicking the shopping button underneath the like and subscribe buttons. And if you want to hear more about films based on books, check out our podcast. The link is in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Published in 1991, American Psycho is Bret Easton Ellis's most well-known novel. It tells the story of Patrick Bateman, a wealthy investment banker who moonlights as a serial killer and rapist. Set in 1980s New York City, the novel follows Bateman as he indulges in sex, drugs, and murder while living in a luxurious Upper East Side apartment with his equally narcissistic and materialistic girlfriend, Evelyn Williams. But all is not what it seems, as the reader soon realizes that Bateman may be losing his grip on reality. As the story progresses, the novel becomes increasingly surreal and nightmarish. As Bateman's psyche deteriorates further, he begins to experience hallucinations, and his violent tendencies become more extreme. Ultimately, the novel culminates in a shocking and ambiguous ending that leaves readers questioning the nature of reality and the depths of human depravity. There are some pretty obvious similarities between American Psycho and another famous horror novel, namely that both stories feature a protagonist who indulges in sex, drugs, and rock and roll while committing violent crimes. However, there are also some key differences between the two. Unlike Hannibal Lecter, Patrick Bateman is not an intellectual or sophisticated character. He's actually quite dim-witted and lacks any redeeming qualities. While Lecter is a brilliant psychiatrist, Bateman is a shallow and narcissistic investment banker who murders people simply because they annoy him. Moreover, unlike Silence of the Lambs, which focuses on the cat-and-mouse game between an FBI trainee and a serial killer, American Psycho is more of a character study of a psychopath. We follow Bateman around for several chapters as he goes about his daily life, indulging in consumerism and planning his murders. The novel explores his inner thoughts and feelings, giving us a glimpse into the mind of a serial killer. Additionally, while Silence of the Lambs is a tightly plotted thriller, American Psycho is more of a satire of 1980s consumer culture. Ellis uses Bateman as a mouthpiece to critique the materialism and excess of the era. The novel is filled with descriptions of designer clothes, expensive cars, and luxurious apartments, all of which contribute to the overall sense of decadence and moral decay. That being said, there are still elements of Silence of the Lambs in American Psycho. Both novels are set in the world of crime and violence and feature protagonists who are willing to do whatever it takes to catch a serial killer. The novels also share a sense of dread and suspense as we follow the characters deeper and deeper into the criminal underworld. However, ultimately, American Psycho is its own unique story with its own distinct themes and characters. It is a chilling exploration of the dark side of human nature, scathing critique of 1980s consumer culture. The writing style of American Psycho is one of the most striking aspects of the novel. Ellis writes in a detached and clinical style that mirrors Bateman's own emotional coldness. The prose is sharp and precise, and Ellis wastes no time in getting to the point. There is no flowery language or poetic imagery here. Instead, we are confronted with the raw, unfiltered thoughts and actions of a psychopath. This writing style serves to emphasize the novel's themes of alienation and isolation. Bateman is a deeply lonely character, and Ellis's writing style reflects this. We are never given any insight into Bateman's inner thoughts or feelings. Instead, we are forced to observe him from a distance as he goes about his life. This creates a sense of unease and detachment that permeates throughout the novel. Additionally, Ellis's writing style is highly effective in creating a sense of suspense and dread. The novel is full of violence and sexual assault, but Ellis does not shy away from depicting these horrors in graphic detail. This creates a disturbing and uncomfortable reading experience that is all the more effective for its realism. Despite its controversial subject matter, American Psycho is a literary accomplishment. Ellis's writing is masterful, and he creates a world that is both fascinating and terrifying. The novel is a searing indictment of 1980s consumer culture, and it remains relevant today. More than 3 decades later, American Psycho is a must-read for anyone who enjoys horror or psychological thrillers. It is a novel that will stay with you long after you finish reading it. When it comes to characters, American Psycho has plenty of them, but they all pale in comparison to the main character, Patrick Bateman. From start to finish, the entire novel is told from his point of view. so it's important to get to know him. A wealthy investment banker living in Manhattan, Patrick is handsome, successful, and incredibly narcissistic. He's obsessed with his appearance and spends hours every day making sure that he looks his best. Patrick is also a serial killer and rapist, but he justifies his actions by claiming that his victims are all terrible people who deserve to die. For example, he kills a homeless man because he is ugly and poor, or a young woman because she works in an office and is therefore part of the corporate machine that he hates. 2. Patrick. Everyone is a pawn in his twisted game, and he's not afraid to eliminate anyone who gets in his way. His internal monologue is often filled with thoughts of violence, and he fantasizes about torturing and murdering those around him. Despite all this, Patrick is also strangely pathetic. He's a sad, lonely man who is consumed by his own darkness. He's incapable of love or empathy and is ultimately doomed to a life of violence and destruction. Aside from Patrick, there are a few other characters that we should mention. There's Evelyn Williams, Patrick's girlfriend, who is as narcissistic and materialistic as he is. Then there's Paul Allen, Patrick's co-worker, who is constantly trying to one-up him in terms of wealth and status. And finally, there's Detective Donald Kimball, the only person who suspects that something is wrong with Patrick. Overall, the characters in American Psycho are a mix of fascinating and repulsive, but they all serve to highlight the novel's central theme: the darkness that lies beneath the surface of 1980s consumer culture. Now let's talk about the ending of the novel. Like many great horror stories, American Psycho does not have a neat and tidy ending. In fact, the ending is both ambiguous and disturbing. Throughout the novel, we see Patrick Bateman descending into madness. He becomes increasingly violent and unstable, and it seems as though he is losing touch with reality. The ending only amplifies this sense of dread and uncertainty. Without giving too much away, let me just say that the final chapters of the novel will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Patrick and the world he inhabits. It's a bold and shocking conclusion to a truly terrifying story. Overall, American Psycho is a masterpiece of psychological horror. It is a disturbing and unforgettable exploration of the dark side of human nature. Ellis's writing is masterful, and the characters are both fascinating and repulsive. If you are looking for a horror novel that will stay with you long after you finish reading it, then I highly recommend American Psycho. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out our other videos on books, films, and television shows. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.